welcome on in, my sweet, gentle angel baby fantasy football cherubs. Come on in. We are back here for Alarm Fantasy Football, and it's waiver day, ladies and gentlemen. And this is one of those weeks. This is one of those weeks where it's going to depend on league depth. It's going to depend on need, but there are some names out there. Last week, it was kind of nothing. One of the few weeks where we're like, save your money. This week, though, there are some names, Bender. I'm excited to get to it. I know there's a couple names you're in on, out on, so we'll get on into it. But before we get to all that, man, how was your week? I haven't talked to you since on a show since this weekend. So how'd you do? Who hit? Who didn't?
It was a good week for me. Season-long fantasy and prop betting, right? That was where my bread and butter was this week. Hit for me. Bo Nix, another game. We knew that he was going to be lighting up Dallas. So it took him a little time to get going there, but that was a big hit. Breece Hall, finally, you're giving this dude some volume there, which of course just means that they've got the bye week coming up. So they're going to spend the next 2 weeks looking to shop him somewhere. Houston.
Ooh.
I got some fringe wide receivers that helped me out. Troy Franklin and Jaden Higgins. They did the nice work. And then, come on, last night, Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift in the house sets the record for most touchdown catches by a tight end in Kansas City. It passes Tony Gonzalez. That's a pretty good feat right there. So
he tied Priest Holmes for touchdowns in general. One more, he has just a flat-out touchdown record for that team, which is crazy. Crazy when you consider the run Priest Holmes went on back-to-back wide RB1. He was the last guy to go RB1 back-to-back. Had a season with 28 touchdowns. So incredible stuff, dude. Yeah, good call on the Kelce play there. We knew, him sitting back on National Tight End Day, you knew he was going to get his. So great call there.
Did you see, by the way, did you see Trey McBride's little whiny tweet?
No.
You shouldn't be a bye week on National Tight Ends Day.
I fully agree. Last week they had none. Last week, week 8, there was none. They were trying to spite the NBA. It was in the first week of NBA last year, and the NFL said no days off for us. So that was great for National Tight End Week. I fully agree. All tight ends. Dude, no Laporta, no McBride, no Bowers. Bad timing for it. I had some plays. For me, what really bailed me out were a couple redraft spots where I was getting crushed by bye weeks, and I just had to throw guys in there. And a big one that I've had RJ Harvey on my bench in so many leagues, just hoping he'll break out, but you can't really start him. This week with all the buys, I had to start him, and it's just couldn't have worked out perfectly. 3 touchdowns, can't really predict that when it's going to happen, but love that. I have so much Michael Pittman, and he was wide receiver 3 this week, so you love to see that. I have a ton of Drake May. I saw your hot takes video. You're saying pump the brakes on the Drake May MVP talk. I'm saying pedal to the metal on that. I was watching it. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Drake May not MVP? There's the hot take in this video because he's a superstar, megastar. Him, Daniel Jones, I guess maybe Patrick Mahomes. There's some names in the running, but we'll see on that.
Listen, and let me just say this, because if I'll tell you what, actually, if you read my article in this week's Weekly Bender, I'll just kind of preview it for everybody. But I'm just talking about the roller coaster of emotions. The Nick Mangold news devastated me in the morning on Sunday. The elation from the Jets winning that game was huge. But then I started showing different emotions and how it all kind of, surprised and fear and anger. And then one of them I did was envy. And what's the emotion of envy? It's watching a schmuck like Drake May do what he's doing, knowing the direction that the Patriots are heading in right now. It's pure jealousy. It is 100% pure jealousy because the Jets can't get it right. The last time we tried with a first-round quarterback, it was Zach Wilson, and that was a disaster. We gave up on Sam Darnold too soon. That was a hot mess for us. we've talked about it here on the show. If you're going to rebuild a franchise, it's the offensive line and it's the quarterback. That's where you start. You build out from there. And so I am willing to accept the fact that my shut the hell up about Drake May being an MVP is also coming from a very green, envious.
You know what it is? The Jets aren't good enough at losing. They always manage to win a couple games for like no reason. Going back to the Adam Gase year, and it's just like you guys are always picking like 6 or 7, man. You got to lose better. You got to lose
6-7.
Yeah, 6-7. You got whatever the kids
the TikTok
are saying.
Crowd.
Whatever
knows
the
what
kids
I'm
are saying
about.
these days. Yeah. Like the kids are saying, you guys got to start losing worse, man. Come in dead last for once, and
Could
then
not lose that game on Sunday. Could not.
I know,
lose
dude. You're
that
trying
game
your
on
hardest,
Sunday.
dude. Like
we tried.
You tried your hardest. You know who I blame? Woody Johnson. Woody Johnson lighting the fire under Justin Fields. And then Justin Fields coming back saying that whatever Woody Johnson says is just noise.
I mean, this is the problem when you've got a crybaby fan base, because the hardcore Jet fans are like, they're so volatile, right? It's like we're the greatest franchise in the world, and then we're the worst franchise in the world, and we're making the greatest pick in the world, and then it's the worst pick in the world. They're so volatile. And then you've got this petulant owner who like makes Dave Tepper from Carolina look like a sane person. Like, right. Yeah, that's the big problem there. Sell the franchise maybe, and we can start the rebuild. But I just want you to know, I want you to feel good about the fact that I might hate on Drake May and the Patriots, but I just want you to know where it's coming from, Coop.
And I understand. Here's the thing. I will now quietly admit the schedule is maybe the softest anyone's ever had ever. But I don't care. 5-2. So we're on to whatever cupcake matchup we get this week. We're on to Atlanta. All right.
Oh my God. Do you want to talk like we sit there and we go from like the players who really helped us out and the players who destroyed us? I know you haven't given all your players who have helped you out, but I have to just say up yours, Bijan Robinson, Zach Robinson, the Atlanta Falcons. That whole game against Miami was the absolute worst game I've ever. The worst play calling, the worst effort. Listen, I don't give a crap that you lost Michael Penix. And I don't give a crap that Drake London had to sit this one out. You gave Bijan Robinson 9 carries. 9 against the worst run defense in the NFL. Horrendous.
I mean, dude, that killed our FFPC lineup because we had Jalen Hurts had 27 points, Jamar Chase 20, Devon Achane 20, James Cook 33, Jonathan Taylor 37. Like we start Patriots defense 15. Like we started great players, and then Bijan, McCaffrey, and Jake Ferguson gave us a 0. Tight end premium 0 for Jake Ferguson. Never again. So, dude, I hate that guy, dude. That's supposed to be his format. So yeah, he got us good. He pulled us good. Some of the Broncos got us, because RJ Harvey scoring all the touchdowns. Cortland Sutton didn't live up to what we needed. Evan Engram didn't give us what we needed. Spencer Rattler, we jinxed the hell out of him, didn't we? Saying that,
You know what? I blame John and Pemba 100%.
Yeah,
I blame him 100% because he didn't use Rattler last week when he should have, and then this week we were like, why not just do it again?
Exactly, dude. So yeah, we kept saying, oh, he's never scored less than 10 points. Well, he has now. So there you go. But anyway, let's get into some of the questions here, and we'll go through. And what we're going to do, as always, is I have 2 articles. We do 2 different ones because we have the surface level waiver wire ad drops. Those are for everybody. That article's free. And basically, we're looking for the best combination of long-term and current usefulness in that article, right? So those players are guys that you can ideally start now, and they're going to have upside along the way. Then we also do a second article that's for just remembers. It's my streamers and stashes article. And then that one, we go a little deeper for the people that play Scott Fishbowl, FFPC, whatever. And I break it down into, okay, here are some guys you can start this week. They have good matchups, but for whatever reason, you don't want to keep starting them moving forward. Maybe they got a bye next week. Maybe we got guys come back from injury. And then on the flip side, I do the stashes, guys that you cannot start this week. Maybe they're on bye. Maybe they're backups. Maybe they're on IR themselves, but there's reason to believe they have upside down the road. We'll give you as much of that information as you guys want today. We'll answer all your questions in the chat. Just do us a favor. When you go in the chat, say, hey, here's my league. It's PPR. It's half PPR. Tell us the full name of the player. There's like 3 guys named Mason now, Tyler. So you're going to have to give us a little more information than that, right? Is this Jordan Mason? Is this Mason Taylor, right? So there's all sorts of Warrens now. There's all sorts of Hunters. There's like 17 Johnsons. So give us the information that we need to help you guys out. And we'll do our best to help
Johnsons, you wish.
Oh, zing. So yes, that's what we're looking for here with you guys. So let's jump in. We'll answer some questions, and then I'll weigh in with my stuff from the articles along the way, and Howard will weigh in with his as well. And we'll get you guys all squared away so we can win some dang leagues. So Tyler, his was the first real quick. Actually, we might have had one before. Yes, we had one from Rod Elliott before he got in here before the wire. Hey family, dynasty trade question. Trade Chase Brown for Pickens and Henderson in a dynasty league.
I would do that.
I would
do that. I don't know what they're really thinking about Samaje Perine's role right now. That's something that we have to kind of tap into there. Another tandem backfield kind of emerging. Pickens is always going to be second fiddle to CeeDee Lamb. We're going to see that constantly. But again, when you're looking at it, if teams who don't have a strong cover corner like a Patrick Surtain, right? What they're going to end up doing, is you're going to end up getting Pickens more opportunities, right? When you do have somebody like Surtain, though, what the problem is that Surtain was on Pickens a ton, and they were double teaming CeeDee Lamb,
right?
And that's how they were kind of taking him out of the equation there early on. But more often than not, I think Pickens is going to have solid value there. And I guess you got to kind of weigh in here on Trevion Henderson. What we saw was great on Sunday, especially going up against a team like Cleveland. They got him running out in space. Is that a trend that's going to continue here? Or are we just going to go back to the same old Ramondre moving forward?
Yeah, well, here's the difference for me is that if this were redraft, then it's a different question. Since it's dynasty, I'm okay with it because Trevion Henderson, he just turned 23 last week.
Right.
Literally less than a week ago. So what he does this year in dynasty, not that in the grand scheme of things, it's not the end of the world. Henderson's been playing Stevenson's been playing well. He's been the hot hand. Maybe Henderson got the hot hand this week and they'll give him a little bit more. But in dynasty, I'm just going that way because we saw how reliant Chase Brown is on Joe Burrow being the guy. The offensive line's terrible. As Howard pointed out, Samaje Perine not only took pretty much all the pass work, but 30% of the early down work as well this week. So, if he's going to take the pass work and 30% of the early down work, that's leaving half the work. That's taking half the sandwich, So, it really is a scary situation there from that regard. So Chase Brown, yeah, definitely a guy that's movable. So I'm on board with that move. Absolutely. Just to the Pickens news, talk about the difference Patrick Surtain makes, right? Once he left that game, Pickens was great, and the word is, Bender, that I'm getting is Patrick Surtain's going to miss weeks with the pack. Yeah, it's week to week, and they're already saying we're talking 4 probably. I'm not sure if he's going to go on IR, but I'm assuming 4. So for fantasy, that's just not good for their defense, but probably still going to start him anyway. Let's see. We got okay, so he clarified on that. Our guy Tyler clarified on that question. Is Jordan Mason? So is he dropping Matt? He needs a kicker. Which guy do you drop for your kicker? Jordan Mason or Rashad White? We saw a little more Sean Tucker, but we also saw a good amount of Aaron Jones.
But I would probably say that Rashad White would be the guy that I would send out. You've got the Bucs are on a bye this week. And then coming back after that, the week after that, you should see Bucky Irving.
Right.
So I think White is probably the most expendable out of the group.
Easily, yeah. Because, you're already seeing Sean Tucker get a little more early down work. And with Bucky coming back, makes him very droppable for a lot of people. We usually don't love these rest of year questions, but I know a lot of people view it that way. Stafford rest of year or Darnold rest of year?
All
Probably still
right. I mean, I
Stafford,
just
right?
need to just kind of peruse through each guy's schedule here, if that's cool. So the Rams upcoming schedule here, we've got Saints, 49ers, Seahawks, Bucks, Panthers, Cardinals. So I mean, it's a favorable schedule here for the Rams. I guess the question is how much work does Kyron Williams get versus how much passing is required over there. So I think that's to me, Darnold's just got a great floor. Right. I hate the fact that they've tandemed up this running back room. But when you're talking about, I mean, Commanders, he's going to need to throw. Cardinals, he'll need to throw. Against the Rams, it could turn into a little bit of a back and forth. And it's Titans, Vikings, Falcons, Colts. Definitely going to have to throw against the Colts, and then the Rams again. So I think if you're just looking for a guy who's going to, if you're swinging for the fences and you just want like those big swings that you could potentially get, then Stafford's your guy. But if you're just looking for safe floor, good guy to hold on to for the rest of the way, I think Darnold is definitely an underrated asset.
It's crazy with Darnold. The craziest thing with Darnold is like they're like a bottom 3 team in pass attempts per game. He's just been very efficient.
Super efficient. That's
Super
that's
efficient.
that's a trademark Kubiak thing.
Kubiak, man, makes it easy on the quarterbacks. When they do get in shootouts, that efficiency is translated to like 300 yards and 3-4 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
I wish they would find a second weapon. I would love for Torrey Horton, maybe coming out of the bye, Torrey Horton or Elijah Arroyo or somebody will get a little that like rookie bye week bump because Cooper Kupp, man, is just not doing a damn thing out there. I have a hard time going away from Stafford, but Darnold has a safer floor. So I think, yeah, I mean, if you're starting this guy rest of year, go Darnold. If you're playing for upside, if it's your second quarterback, then I'd go Stafford. I think Bender got it right there with that. Did you see? Well, what did you watch the game last night? I had to go to bed, dude. I couldn't
Which
watch
game?
that
Oh, the
baseball
Blue
game.
Jays game? Yeah, I watched the entire thing. I mean, it wrapped up at like, I don't know, like 10:45, 11 o'clock my time is when Freddie Freeman hit that home run. I was like,
I went to bed at
dear
1.
Lord, I'm like, I get up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because I'm on like, I got to match up with East Coast time. So I'm like, well, shit, now I'm going to have to go to bed soon here also. And then Freeman hit it, and I was like, all right, good. I can be in bed before 11 o'clock my time. I felt good about that.
I went to bed, man. I'm like, whatever, dude. It was 1 o'clock, I think, and it was still like the 14th inning or something. I was like, I'm not that big a baseball guy. I'm also in a weird spot with this series because there's a Boston part of me that says root against LA. But Ani Kupi is a big Dodgers
Oh,
fan.
come on.
So
Ani Coop.
I know, dude.
See, you should
So I'm
understand,
rooting.
right? My hatred for the Dodgers goes back to when I was growing up. The late 70s, early 80s, Yankees Dodgers rivalry was crazy. Like we'd see each other in the World
Right.
Series on the regular. And so, if Ani Coop's watching right now, screw Steve Garvey and Ron Say and all those other, dips in that team. I mean, it was great teams, great rivalry, but I cannot root for the Dodgers. I can't do it, and I'd rather be able to say, "Oh, there she is."
She's been
I'd
in
rather
there.
be able to
Yeah,
say that my
we gotta see if she
Yankees
responds.
lost the division and in the playoffs to the eventual World Series champion. It makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah, I'm fully with you, man. It's like and the Blue Jays a better story, but then part of me is also like team chaos, where I just know people are gonna whine about like the Dodgers spending money too, and so part of me kind of wants that. So I don't know. I'm just kind of going through it unbiased. I got to root for Cooper a little bit. Sleeper changed Danny Dimes to Indiana Jones. I wish maybe they would invest a little bit of time in, I don't know, like making it so you could look at your best ball leagues on the
Yeah,
computer.
thank you.
Like they're spending a lot of just, resources on fake whips and tweets and stuff, and turn it into a casino. How about like just letting us use your platform on the computer? So shout out Sleeper. I tell you right now, Howard, I'm leaving any sleeper best ball league that has waivers if they don't add it next year. It includes dynasty leagues. I just can't do it. I work on the computer. But enough whining about sleeper. Who should I pick up with Hurts on bye? Stafford, Lawrence, Goff, or Stroud?
Staff.
I guess this would be a good time to get into the
the
streamers and
quarterback talk.
stashes for this week. Yeah, into the quarterback talk. Because the thing with Stafford here, he's got the Saints. I'm not sure how much they're going to have to throw.
Right.
The guy that I'm looking to add for a streamer, I do like Darnold this week. I had Darnold and Lawrence as my top streamers. I just think the floor is so good for Darnold. If they're throwing the third least in the league, that tells you the ceiling could potentially get higher. But of that group, I think you just got to go with Jared Goff, man, just because
at home against Minnesota. Rivalry game.
Because Goff's not really available in that many leagues. That's the thing.
I mean, I love what Stroud did this past week, and he should get Nico Collins back. And Denver doesn't have Surtain, but I don't necessarily know if I want to dive into that matchup just yet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have some interesting decisions to make in a league where I have Stroud and Kyler Murray, and they're going to activate Kyler probably, and I have to take him out of an IR spot. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can trust Kyler. So, but here's where I'm at. In the leagues where we're talking about quarterbacks that are widely available, so under 50% or so, the guy that we like best as a spot start and kind of as a season-long ad would be Sam Darnold right now. The other one, Trevor Lawrence, not a bad spot start based on volume alone. He hasn't looked good. You kind of have to shut your eyes and look at the box score, right? Because
you can't watch that game.
It's been brutal. Don't watch the game. Don't watch the game. Go for a walk. This is a pumpkin patch game. But at the end of the game, I mean, he dropped back to pass 48 times. So at the end of the game, the numbers are there. And that's what you're looking for. For stashes, JJ McCarthy, just hoping that, hey, his weapons are so good. We only saw a small sample size before he got hurt. That's what you're doing, right? And then in those Superflex leagues, you got to add Tyler Shuck because that's how Superflex works. That's how the format works. Every starting quarterback gets added, and you might need them for bye week. So I've got nothing else to tell you besides that. I got nothing for you, son. You got to I have to try and add him in a league where I only have two quarterbacks because one of them is Drake May. He is bye week 14. So anything else on that?
No, not really.
Right? It's who knows if that guy is going to be good or not, but maybe he will be. But if he's going to start in Superflex, that's all that matters. Let's see here. Someone offered me Puka and David Montgomery for Jonathan Taylor.
No.
Wow. Yeah,
no.
That's too much. Puka for Taylor straight up is, because we're talking about wide receiver 1 for RB1. You can't give away another meaningful asset.
Value. I'm sorry, man, but the value of a full-time bell cow back. Forget about the fact that he scored 3 touchdowns in each of the last 3 games. The value of a guy like that. Look at the way these tandem backfields are developing, right? Rico Dowdle is going to get the primary work now in Carolina, but they're not putting Chuba Hubbard away. He's still going to get work. Charbonnet, Walker. That's what we're dealing with. RJ Harvey starting to get those red zone looks now over J.K. Dobbins. Kareem Hunt getting all the red zone work over Isaiah Pacheco. So when you're dealing with these bell cow backs, I think, yes, is Puka fantastic? Sure, of course he is. But is his value that much better than Jonathan Taylor's, or is it even equal? I don't even think it's equal because it's easier to find replaceable wide receivers to stream in each week than it is to go find a replaceable running back who could even come close to what Jonathan Taylor's doing.
Jonathan Taylor, to put in perspective, the points per game Jonathan Taylor's put up so far in PPR is on pace with all-time great seasons. I'm talking those 2 Priest Holmes seasons I mentioned earlier. LaDainian Tomlinson, the insane Christian McCaffrey season. To average 28 PPR points per game or whatever it is all-time great, MVP caliber. So it's just a different beast. So I wouldn't do that, man. Especially because he says Monty's just going to be a handcuff for him. Anyone using a number 1 waiver priority? I would under very specific circumstances. If you're going to put Tyrone Tracy into your lineup this week, I think you have to use it. And I would use mine on Trey Benson if he's available because I personally believe. But if you're not putting the player directly into your lineup this week, then I don't think you need to use it. That's kind of my stance on the number one waiver priority right now. But it's just the thing with Tracy, yes, like he's definitely not as good as Cam Scatterbo. It's just so rare for starting running backs to come along that if you're going to put him in your lineup, you got to use it, right, Bender? I mean, you can't.
I mean, if you're going to put him in your lineup, I don't particularly see. My problem is that Devin Singletary's still there, and he's Brian Daboll's boy. So you're not getting, Tyrone Tracy isn't – the reason they drafted Scatterbo was because they know that Tyrone Tracy is not a running back that can handle the full workload. So he's always going to be in a tandem situation. So, I've been talking, a lot of people have come and asked that question of me. Waiver priority, how, should I just open up the Fab wallet for him? I don't think so because I don't think the player and the team dynamic is going to be so much more, so much different than where it was with Scatterbo. With Scatterbo, there was an energy, there was, excitement. He was just powering through and pushing through, and that's not the game that Tracy plays. And there's a connection between Scatterbo and Dart, and he kept Dart going, the two of them with their headbutts and whatever, that now all of a sudden, without Scatterbo, this Giants team really just gets taken apart, like in a negative kind of a way. So I think if you're so desperate that you have to have a running back in there, then okay, yes, then use that waiver priority. But if this is like a depth play for you, if you're just like, oh, well, he'll be my third or fourth running back, I don't think you need to be using that waiver priority. I think that there are, it's only week 8. Remember that. You still have 4 more weeks of the fantasy regular season. So 4 or 5 more weeks. We're still going to see other injuries crop up on better teams with stronger players coming out. And I agree with you. I would use the waiver priority on Benson in a shot way before I would use it on Tyrone Tracy.
Right. That's where I'm at. Like Benson's the guy that I prefer just because I think he's a superior talent to the guys in the room. I think with Tracy last year is he did kind of relegate Singletary to a part-time role last year. He was getting about 60% of the snaps, but this team is pretty bad. So I think if he's going to be your wide receiver, if he's going to be your RB3, even then I would probably use it. But anything after 3, I'm not going to do it. That's where I stand because I think he can be okay. I think he can, especially in PPR. But you're right. He's not just going to get.
By the way, Benson, the Cardinals released Michael Carter, so that tells me that Benson is probably closer to returning than not, right? Because they hate DeMarcado, right? They hate him, and Bam Knight is Bam Knight.
Benson came out on his Instagram 10 days ago and said soon. He's out for no matter what for another week. So unless soon to him means an entire month, like him missing this week and then also the following week, that's literally an entire month. The NFL players don't treat it. Maybe that is what he means. But dude, do people really say, "Oh yeah, I'll be back soon"? And it means 4 games from now, 5 games from now? I think Benson's going to be back soon. So I'm going Benson over Tracy. That's why I have it written up in the article. And those are probably the only 2 players I would consider using a number 1 waiver claim on this week. But I do want to try and sneak guys in after. So at running back, just to round out the running back, we like Benson, we like Tracy. Those guys, if you're gonna use a claim, use it. The other thing about Benson that I realize, Bender, is that in the deeper leagues where that guy is valuable, he's already rostered. And in the shallow leagues, like Tracy, for instance, too, in the deep leagues, he's already rostered. In the shallow leagues, you might not even use him. That's why it's tough to use that claim. Streamers, Bam Knight versus Dallas, right? With no, with no, he's like no Benson this week. We'll use him. That's going to be my number 1 guy. In any sort of full PPR, Tajay Spears versus the Chargers. We've seen what they do. He's the pass down back. Game script's going to be negative. And then I do have Kyle Monangai over Tyler Algier for 2 reasons. One, because Monangai is closer to kind of taking work away from Swift permanently than Algier is from taking it from Bijan, right? It's just like the gap between Algier and Bijan is this. The gap between Monangai and Swift is probably closer to this, And then the other thing is the matchup. The matchup is very good for Monangai this week. He has the it's amazing how things. I literally was just writing about this matchup and then just poof, gone out of my brain. It's like an hour ago. He has the Bengals. So Monangai plays the Bengals, and Algier plays the Patriots. So it's just better matchup, better setup. For stashes, we're looking at Manuel Wilson looked good this week with behind Josh Jacobs. He could be a guy. Tank Bigsby looked good this week with Saquon a little nicked up. I know they get the bye to get healthy, but Tank Bigsby's on the radar. Howard, if I drafted a ton of Tank Bigsby on the Jaguars and was completely wrong, and then he backdoors his way into a starting role between Saquon, Barkley injury, do I have to give back my $1 million on Underdog? Do I get to keep that money?
You get to keep that money. You get to keep. I've got some shares. Can I tell you, Tank Bigsby, and how about this, Kareem Hunt, and I've got some splashes of Devin Neal in best ball as well. Like those were like last round picks that Bigsby cost a little bit more beforehand, right? Bigsby was more like an eighth to 10th round pick.
I was using real draft capital on Bigsby. So many leagues. If I was watching him this weekend, just picturing that Homer Simpson, stupid like a fox.
Like a fox.
And then we're keeping an eye on Isaiah Davis. We're keeping an eye on Blake Corum. Isaiah Davis is a hold for at least until next Tuesday, just to see. That's the trade deadline. And you know who's off our radar is DJ Giddens, because he was a healthy and active this week. They leaned on Amir Abdullah. Who knows what would happen there? But like, I can't. If I'm rostering a pure handcuff, I need to know they're going to be the guy, and I'm just not sure he's the guy, right?
Yeah.
Let's jump down, hit on some member questions popping in here. Always got to take care of the paid questions, guys. So if you do want to cut the line, throw in there, become a member, hit that join button, or just hit us with a super chat here. So we got Rod Ellie here with a couple paid mamma jammas here. PPR RBs are Achane, Hall, Etienne, Vidal, Pollard, Rashad Smith. Is Pollard droppable for Devin Neal? I don't know if that crew.
Not yet. Not yet.
I don't go that far because Vidal's an expiring asset. And Rashad Smith isn't the guy yet. You might need Pollard. Sorry if questions are showing up twice. They're disappearing. No, we only saw that one once. The disappearing questions.
I will say this about Kamani Vidal. The latest news on Omari and Hampton hasn't been great. I mean, he's an expiring asset for sure, but he was still in a walking boot during the Thursday night game. He's going into his 4th week on IR this coming week. So he's not even eligible to be activated. And it sounds like he could miss like another game or two beyond that. So while yes, Vidal is definitely an expiring asset, he does still have like a good, 3, 4, possibly 4 weeks left in him, I think.
Yep. Fully agree. Yeah, the guy's in a boot, so he's not close because he's got to get back up to speed. We do answer questions, Tyler. We just like to hang out, talk a little bit, hang with the chat. I mean, if we just answer questions nonstop, then that's kind of a boring show. And we do that on Sunday morning when it's like an hour before kickoff, nonstop, start sits, just to get everybody going. But we like to hang out a little bit here. We already did this one here. Play all QBs against Washington. We've been on that one. That's a smart move. Play all QBs against the Cowboys. You see Jerry Jones's shootout factory has lined up for us this week, Bender?
I try to ignore Jerry as much as possible. The nonsense that comes out of his mouth is just it's just trash.
Cardinals at Cowboys, 54-point over under, 3-point spread to start. So I should get another one. Lost Scatabo have Javonte Williams, Rico Dowdle. Do I trade Nico Collins or Keenan Allen for Quinshon Judkins? If you can trade Keenan Allen for Quinshon Judkins, you got to do that.
In a heartbeat. Yeah, bro. You don't need to.
Keenan Allen only played 17 snaps this week, bro. Nico Collins, I would not trade for Judkins though. I don't think I would, because Nico Collins is a pretty locked in top 5 wide receiver when he's healthy. You wouldn't do that, right?
No, I would not. I would not. So I
You
think
think
there's
Ferguson?
something going on here with Restream, because I'm looking at the questions that we have here to bring up on the screen. Oh, wait, is this the one? This is the one. Paid question here. Yeah, there's something going on with Restream
Okay.
here that we're not seeing all of it like listed in there. I want to make sure that, again, if you want to jump the line, there we've got super chat
There it is. Yep.
questions, but you can also join if you're watching on the YouTube page. There's a join button, which is $4.99 a month, and all of your questions immediately get bumped up and answered before anybody else's. So that's why we've got this like premium chat here. But Restream is a product that is really starting to grate on my nerves lately.
I tried to mention that on Sunday. We had somebody in there that did 2 $5 super chats to get their questions in ahead of everybody. And I'm like, just hit the join button and you can get your questions answered for the next 2 months for $10. You don't need to do $5 super chats. Trying to spread the gospel on that, but way she goes. Fred, here we go. Need a flex. Please rank them. This for this week, but Fred's a member, so he can do start sits early if he wants. Tajay Spears, Dylan Sampson, Emmanuel Wilson, Christian Watson, Darius Slayton.
All right. So for me right now, I mean, I gotta say, you can't really argue against what they're doing with Christian Watson. So you kind of wanna be a part of that. I mean, it's Carolina, decent, pass defense, but a lot of teams are passing on them right now. JC Horn isn't going to be able to shadow Christian Watson. So home game here, return for Watson. I put him first out of this group. And then I'll tell you what, I go Christian Watson, Darius Slayton, Tajay Spears, Dylan Sampson, Emmanuel Wilson. That's how I rank it.
Yep, fully agree. Wilson is much more of a handcuff. What we saw this weekend is not what you can expect from him. But if anything happens to Jacobs, that's wheels up. And Christian Watson for me is going to be a guy that I'm going to rank now right around where I rank Alec Pierce most weeks, because he's that kind of guy, right? Field stretcher, always either catches or doesn't, right? Pierce last 2 weeks has caught his 2 passes, 48 yards and 50 yards, and he's delivered. And I think Watson can do the same thing. And that's a valuable streaming option. Shout out to Johnny Impemba. He's been on the Alec Pierce streaming train, and I mean it's been working. Go look at the stats for the guy. Yes, he will have a game where he has 2 catches because he doesn't catch the big one, but you gotta when it comes to streaming, you gotta give yourself a shot at upside. I have CMC, Kenny Walker, Marks, and other backups. I feel like Bam Knight could do well this week, but I may not waste my waiver claim since Benson's back. I would not use a claim. I would use Fab to try and get him, but I wouldn't use a claim. I would just start the 3 guys you have instead, because Bam, again, expiring asset probably. Pacheco MCL sprain week to week. Brashad Smith. He took a direct shot to his knee. I am shocked that it's just a sprain. That was a scary hit. So
yeah, I like adding Brashad Smith for sure. I definitely do. Even though Kareem Hunt is probably going to get a bunch of work, but Kareem Hunt, like 2 weeks ago, or was it last week, that he got like carried off the field. He came back, but he got carried off the field. So
yeah. I mean, Brees Hall, here he comes. Here are my RBs. We start 2, no flex zone. CMC, Ken Walker, Marks, Tootin, Mononga, Isaiah Davis. You drop any of these guys for Tracy, Brashad Smith, or Bam Knight? Yeah, I would drop any of Tootin, Mononga, and Isaiah Davis for Tracy.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, just because he could be getting 60% of the snaps, and those guys are living in a world of 30%.
Yeah. I would try to drop Tootin and Mononga for Tracy and Brashad Smith, especially if Smith is going to see an increased workload here.
I would too. Yeah, and I would just start Walker, Marks, and CMC. Go for the other guys. Half PPR RBs are Achane.
We got this one already.
Paul, Etienne, Vidal, Pollard, Brashad Smith. Is Pollard dropped? We did that one. Yep. Where do we think Pollard will be traded to? I don't know if he's going to get traded. But there are a bunch of guys I'd love to see get moved. I'd love to see them trade Chigakonkwo too. They clearly want to use Gunnar Helm. They already released Tyler Lockett. I don't know who could use Pollard.
Pollard's always always gonna go into a timeshare. Pollard is not that running back that can handle the full workload on his own. He's not that guy. So you kind of figure the key running backs who could be traded are the guys who could play a full role, right? like Brees Hall could land with Kansas City, right? Because he can handle an every down situation. He could also go to Houston, who would then put Woody Marks kind of like on the back burner a little bit and make that run. I mean, they do have, that talent right there to be able to make a playoff run, and it's a bad division. And you know what? And a lot of top teams in the AFC are sitting with soft records. So, you kind of have to figure that one out. If you're looking at a guy who's in a running back who's in a timeshare situation now, chances are is that he's going to end up in a timeshare situation wherever he gets traded to.
Exactly. Like the only one that like Brees Hall is like the big one, right? He's the big one right now that he could go somewhere and just take over. A lot of the other guys, you're right, they'd probably mix in, especially early on. Jerry, appreciate you listening. Yeah, Fantasy Alarm Show, Sirius XM, channel 87, every weekday, 6 to 8 p.m. And then we do a little game day edition on Sunday morning, 10 to 11. So appreciate you guys tuning in here. Appreciate you tuning in there. And Brian has a good point. Hit that like button. That's a good free way to support us. Hit like and subscribe. It really means a lot. Looks like we're closing in on 10,000 subscribers, which is really cool, man. We really appreciate you guys and everything you do. And it's not just football on this channel. I mean, I love tuning in to Grande and Impemba talk about basketball. It sounds like they're speaking Spanish when I watch that show because they know so much about things I don't know a ton about, but I just really enjoy that. So we have a ton of good stuff for you guys on this channel. Make sure you're subbed up. Jacoby Myers on the waiver. He's an interesting name. Worth putting in a claim if I have Sutton, T-Mac, A.J. Brown, Dubs, Cup, and Godwin. Maybe not with that crew. But
yeah, he wants to be traded. And I'll tell you what, man, in all honesty, I would say if he does land with a better team, I probably will like him better than Dobbs, and I'll probably like him better than Cooper Kupp.
What do we do if Jacoby Myers ends up back with Josh McDaniels and the Patriots?
I would definitely be interested in him, right? I mean, you move,
Right.
you're hurting the value of Stephon Diggs really because you're going to take him out of the slot and you're going to use Jacoby Myers in the slot. I think, if he goes back to a McDaniels offense, he becomes a PPR monster.
Right. Demario Douglas has been phased out. He only played like 14 snaps last week. Like, it's possible, man. It's possible. So we're looking at that. If let's say that does happen, any interest in Tyler Lockett? He just got signed by the Raiders.
No, I don't have. There is nothing. He got signed by the Raiders because Pete Carroll's playing fantasy football, right? But he's got a magazine from like 8 years ago, right? That's what he's doing. He's got a little Geno Smith in there. That'll work real well with Tyler Lockett in there.
No. So yeah, I'm good with you. I'm good with that. Why don't we hit the wide receivers quick? So here's how I want to ask your opinion because I was kind of torn between two players at the top. On one hand, you have Troy Franklin, who's been the slow and steady grind. Like he's slowly getting more snaps. He's got 18 targets over the last 2 weeks. He's not quite a full-time guy now, but I mean, 32 routes for Sutton, 30 for him. So he's been kind of the slow and steady guy. But then we got the rocket ship, Chimere Dike for the Titans, came out of nowhere. He's getting looks left and right. He's the only one that can catch the ball that Cam Ward's throwing. He's over the last 3 weeks, he's caught 13 of 15 balls. I think the catch rate for everybody else is like 40%. So, like, if you're desperate, do you go Franklin or go Chimere? I'm so close on these two. I'm a little torn on those two.
I'm torn on them as well. I'd probably go Franklin first, only because how do you trust the Titans? Yes, they're going to have to throw a bunch, but with the way Cam Ward's just getting beaten up, I mean, I love what I've seen from Chimere Dike. I really have, because, you're talking about, 20 targets in the last 3 games. And since Brian Callahan was fired, Dike has not only seen 12 targets for 11 catches, 162 yards, and a touchdown. Not to mention the fact that his ADOT has actually jumped into double digits since Callahan's been fired. They've opened up his route tree a lot more, and I really love the player. I really do. I think this is a nice spot, but this offense is garbage, and you really do have to worry about like Cam Ward and can he sustain, being sacked 8 times in a game. Troy Franklin, he's not going to be the primary there, but I like what you're talking about, the fact. And what I also like here is that if Pat Bryant really is emerging, then Troy Franklin's going to start getting a lot of slot snaps, right? That's what happened when Marvin Mims went down. I think Franklin got used in the slot a little bit more this past week, and then Pat Bryant ended up on the outs as the outside receiver. So addition by subtraction almost here, getting rid of Marvin Mims out of the way. So yeah, I would go Franklin first, DK second, but they're so close though, dude. So close.
That's how I have it in the article. And then I just said, hey, throw 5 to 10 at both of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like throw a rank Franklin ahead, but whatever you're throwing at Franklin, throw it at
same amount, right?
Yeah.
$17
the same amount,
each.
just rank it, right? And just get whoever you get. I think that's the way to handle it this week. And same thing with priority. If you're going to use your priority, it's Franklin, then DK. So that's where I'm at. Christian Watson's probably the next best bet for kind of combination of floor and upside moving forward. He's already had his bye week. He's got a full-time role right now, or should have a full-time role on that team with Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed out. So we'll see. So that's where we're at there. For streamers, I really like for a 1-week play that's available everywhere is a Michael Wilson. So Michael Wilson's a guy that every week he gets you 4, 5, 6 targets. Doesn't really do a whole lot with it. But when you take that and you put it into the conditions created by the Dallas Cowboys, where it's a 3-point spread, it's a 54-point over-under, they can't stop anything, that turns 4 or 5 targets into 6, 7 targets. And from a streaming option that's only rostered in less than 10% of the leagues, that's all we really need in this world, right? 6, 7 targets and a chance at a touchdown. So Michael Wilson's on the radar. Alec Pierce is the Tyler Algier of wide receivers, if that makes sense. Like he's just always out there if you need him. So Alec Pierce, Darius Slayton for San Francisco. He led the team in targets this week. He only had 5. He had a monster touchdown called back on a ticky-tack call.
Dude, I got brutalized in like I don't even know. It was probably like a 20 to 30 minute span where Darius Slayton's touchdown got called back and Cortland Sutton's touchdown got called back. I was like, yes.
I missed the Slayton one getting called back. So I was like, where did that touchdown go? When I was looking at the stats, I must have been like taking the dog out or something because I was like, wait a minute, didn't you just score like a massive touchdown? So kind of funny there. But yeah, those guys are playing stashes. Jalen Coker, we kind of threw him out, but then he kicked the door open a little bit. This week, Jalen Coker played some snaps in 2 wide receiver sets with Tedero and McMillan, with Xavier Legette off the field. That's what we need to see. He's only going to have upside for us if he can put Legette onto a part-time path. So just a stash. Torrey Horton, just a stash. If you have an IR spot, put Jalen McMillan in it. If you don't have an IR spot, I don't really think anyone has roster space for that. But if you have an open IR spot, put him in it. We already mentioned Tyler Lockett. So that's where we're living on wide receiver. Anything I missed on that?
No. I mean, I will say this about the Houston receivers. Be careful with Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. I mean, I like the players both, but when Nico Collins comes back, Higgins' role goes back to where it was. When Christian Kirk comes back, Jalen Noel's role kind of goes back to where it was as well. Xavier Hutchinson stays on the field, but he'll end up with like 2 or 3 targets a game like we've seen in the past. So just be careful with, overspending on the Houston receivers, thinking that you're going to be able to start them this week. I don't necessarily know if you are, if both Higgins and Kirk could come back.
Yeah. Add Xavier Hutchinson if your league does points for like pancake blocks or whatever.
Let's before we hit the tight ends, let's rip through some of the final questions that we've got here. Why did the God? Sure. Is that a joke or is this like a true question here? Why did the Godfather use gabagool and not Capicole?
That's a good question.
It is a good question because we all like our gabagool. I'm not gonna lie.
The Sopranos too. Hey, Tone. He's asking the wrong questions here. You don't ask those kind of questions here. We don't like people who ask questions about the gabagool. I have Danny Dimes and Purdy as my QBs. Pretty good. Is Purdy worth hanging on to? Darnold also available. I have CMC, Kittle, Pinheiro, so a lot of Niners. I mean, the Niners are a highly consolidated team, and Pinheiro doesn't really count towards that game. The Dimes hasn't had his bye week yet either. Dimes has bye week 11. So
I mean, listen, I
think I would
think you're
hold Purdy
fine
over
here.
Dimes.
Dimes is week 11. I think you're fine here with these guys. I don't love the overstack on the 49ers. I really don't. So I don't mind swapping from Purdy to Darnold if you're just going to keep starting Danny Dimes the entire time. But that's the commitment that you're making. But I don't mind Purdy. I don't mind keeping him there as your backup.
Yeah. I got Kyler, M. Joe, F. Jared. I don't know what that means. Who do I drop for rest of season rotation of 2?
I'm going to say I got Kyler, Mac Jones, or no.
I think he meant to type
Jared Goff, I guess, who I dropped for rest of season rotation. Oh, Flacco. There you go. I got Kyler Murray, Joe Flacco, and Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Which one do I drop for rest of season rotation of 2?
Now that I've figured out what he's doing, it makes all the sense in the world. I don't know why that threw my brain for such a loop. I mean, man, that's tough, dude. I think I would drop Flacco.
Yeah.
I think I would drop
probably.
Because Goff is just a much better floor, and Kyler has a ceiling. You got to hold on to some sort of ceiling. Chuba and Rico, what do I do with them?
All right, so
Howard's sending emails. He's sending.
I've been
letters,
digging into this right now, and basically where we're at is that Rico Dowdle is going to start getting the primary work. They're trying to. Canales is trying to have conversations with Chuba Hubbard about a lesser role, but what he's doing though is he's also keeping the door open for Chuba to retake this job, right? Because he knows that Rico Dowdle is a tomato can. Is he playing well right now? Yes. But is there anything special about Rico Dowdle? No. If there was, he wouldn't be bouncing around from team to team. So I look at this and I say, you got to hold on to them both. You start Rico Dowdle, you keep Chuba on the bench, and you watch this closely. If you need to drop one, then I would say that you drop Chuba. But the only reason that I would be dropping Chuba right now is that if you need a player off the waiver wire that you have to get into your starting lineup. And he has to be better than Chuba in a part-time role.
Yep, fully agree. And you know who the special one is? Dave Canal. He's special. So we're going to follow whatever his plan is. Too early for this question, brother, because we don't even know who's starting for the Saints at quarterback. So too early for that question. Circle back with us. Thursday we do start sits. Tomorrow we're doing trades and all that stuff. Vegas, Jacks, Dallas to pick up this week. Vegas, dude. Vegas was a one-time only thing versus the Titans.
I'm never Jacks defense here against Vegas.
Yeah. Picked up Bam Knight and traded Bam and Fannin for Debo. You got Goddard and you got Henry. That's great. Start Goddard. You're going to have to start Henry this week in a bad matchup against the Falcons, but what are you going to do? I like the trade. Is BTJ buy low with all the trade drama? I mean,
if you're genuinely buying low, yes. Like he's an explosive player who's got great talent. But if you're turning around to me and you're being like, yeah, they want Rico Dowdle for BTJ, well then no, I'm not making that move, right? Like it has to be a traditional buy low.
Yeah. See, Shug is starting for the Saints. Well, we got to dig through all that when we do our rankings. I'm going to do the rankings right after this show for this week for every format, full PPR, half PPR, standard, every position. And that's going to be available to Fantasy Line members. So if you do have start sit questions and you want the earliest possible answer you're going to get, well, go over to Fantasy Line tonight around 7 or 8 when I finish those, and they'll all be up, and then you can check that out. And then on Thursday, if you're not a member, you can come in here and ask us questions. If you're a member, you can also go in the Discord and ask us those questions. That's kind of how that goes, but we don't have that information yet because we're still doing waivers. Everything in its place, everybody. Everything in its place. Speaking of which, tight ends for this week. Nobody you should go out and go crazy getting unless somehow like Arondé Gadsden didn't get picked up, which he should have. There are some good spot starts this week for sure. You can definitely use Juwan Johnson. I think he's healthy off the ankle issue. He looks a lot better, Bender, and his target share and snap share and route participation is back up a little bit last 2 weeks. So he's not a bad play. I know he's got a weird quarterback situation. Colston Loveland again, especially if Cole Kmet's out, but that's kind of dependent on Cole Kmet. And Theo Johnson is emerging from this like awful schedule situation finally. And he'll be back on the menu a little bit this week. So those are kind of the streamers we're looking at. For stashes, Colston Loveland. We're trying to hold Mason Taylor through the bye because he led the team in routes run and targets last week. Keep an eye on Elijah Arroyo and Terrence Ferguson in really deep leagues, just to see if maybe coming out of the bye they get a little boost. Arroyo got 5 targets last week, and Terrence Ferguson got a little run. And dude, they were using him on some deep balls. His ADOT is like 30. It's literally like 28 yards right now, which obviously isn't sustainable, but that's nice. For kicker, we're going to use Brandon, guys that got dropped. I mean, guys that got dropped on bye week. So Brandon McManus McManus was hurt. Now he's back. Him against the Panthers. Joshua Carty against the Saints. For defenses, check and see if anyone dropped the Chargers. My goodness, if anyone dropped the Chargers, that's worth fab against the Titans this week, Bender. I think I'm throwing fab at that if it's available. Lions might have been dropped. They have a good matchup. Rams have the Panthers. We just mentioned the Jags as well. The Jags have a good matchup. Who the Jags got this week?
They got Vegas.
Jags got Vegas. So that's it. Let's wrap these questions. We'll get you guys out of here. Would you trade Egbuka and Warren for Achane? I think I would. Who we need to know who's your other tight end? Who you start at tight end? Michael.
No, is that Tyler Warren or is that Jalen Warren?
Oh, it is because he's mentioning running backs. I got Gibbs as other running backs. Gibbs is just one guy. You get Achane and Gibbs? Yeah, I think I do that, dude. I think I do that. Yeah, we definitely do that. Got offered James Cook for Pickens and Warren.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely do that. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? You've got Lamb and Pickens, and you got Henry, Chase Brown. Yes. If you're getting James Cook, yes. Smash it.
Did that guy not see the game?
Just smash it. Smash it. Quick now. Do it now.
If there was any pushback, James Cook would have had 400 yards. Like, he was incredible this week. Do you think the change in QB drastically affects Olave? Yes. Honestly, with a situation like this, Olave could be a lot better. He could be a lot worse. The thing with this though is if Shook is that bad, they'll just bring Rattler back. Ferguson's still a decent play. I think something I've learned over the last couple of weeks is there's some defenses we want to avoid for tight ends. The Broncos are one with Hufanga. The Falcons, we want to avoid the Falcons. We want to avoid the Eagles. So that's all going to come out in the wash in the weekly rankings. But I'll start Ferguson against the Cardinals with a 54-point over under this week, right? That's not a problem.
That's not a problem for me at all.
Yeah. Last question here from Chortle. First a gabagool question, then a real question. I love that. RJ Harvey, Tracy, Bam Knight, or Algier for just this one week.
Just this 1 week, then probably Bam Knight against Dallas.
Bam. Yep. It's got to be Bam Knight against Dallas. You want some Henry order? Let's see. The players my opponent has. He wants Derrick Henry. I would take. Obviously, you would take Jamar Chase, but would you do Sutton for Derrick Henry? Is that fair?
I mean, it's fair, but I think you can get a sweetener on that also.
Yeah, you can. Yes. All right, let's wrap it up. No Taysom Hill ever, Turbo Mal. Actually, you know what? My stance on Taysom Hill is always the same. That's a journey that you need to go on for yourself. Nobody can tell you whether or not to start him. You do yourself. Audie Coop says, great show. That's it. That's the show. Shout out to the Dodgers. Shout out to the Blue Jays. If you have any good vibes out there, send them to the folks in Jamaica right now. Serious storm going on there. Just wanted to mention that. Stay safe if you're watching and you're in Jamaica or if you're in Cuba or anywhere out there. But hey, that's been it for us. We'll be back every day this week, as always, at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, trades and DFS. Thursday, we have our start-sit show. On Friday, I'm bringing in the wide receiver ringer from Fantasy Alarm, Colby Conway, to make a little lineup for FFPC. But until then, folks. Unless our Bender has.
Adios, turd nuggets.